We start with education. Concerns are mounting in the education sector this evening that some of the island's students may be at risk of falling through the cracks in the wake of Hurricane Melissa. This as several schools are already reporting that many of their students are unaccounted for. Here's Amoy Harriet with part one of this CVM News report, Education Exodus.
2 years after COVID hit, some 27,000 students were still missing from classrooms when schools reopened their doors. 3 years later, Melissa is threatening a repeat. Some students knocked off course then may be thrown off course again. Concerns are mounting that, as in the COVID era, many students will not return to school even after infrastructural damage caused by the hurricane are repaired.
There are early signs. I had a discussion with a principal out in the western side of the island that was badly damaged by the hurricane, and there are early signs of that. As it is now, there are many schools that are unable to reach to some of these students. The longer these schools take to get up and running, so it's the more you're going to find the numbers increasing.
Mark Malava is president of the Jamaica Teachers Association. Like him, vice president of the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, JAPS, Aniona Jones, believes the current situation in the sector mirrors what typically unfolds after any major disaster.
We've learned several lessons since COVID, one of which is that once our parents and our schools get significantly impacted and we have our children separated from formal education for any extended period of time, that there is a detrimental impact on the retention of students.
And schools in the western parishes aren't the only ones that stand to be affected. Mrs. Jones is also the principal for Haile Selassie High School in Kingston. Now, Kingston was one of the parishes least affected by Melissa.
Even where we did not have a direct hit from Hurricane Melissa, like in my institution, a smaller one with smaller numbers, but of my 278 students, I have 72 students who have not attended school for more than 3 days since Hurricane Melissa. You're looking at families that would have had jobs in the hotel sector, and they're now furloughed.
It's this growing financial pressure, she warns, that could force some students, particularly older teens, out of the classroom and into the workforce, as was seen during COVID.
Especially our boys. They are the ones that are more likely to drop out of school to try to get a job to help their moms and their younger siblings to be able to keep food on the table and the lights on. So we are really in a predicament.
To make matters worse, some schools may not immediately realize who's missing.
Schools would retain a register of all the students that are registered into their institution. In some instances, however, these documents have gotten damaged. Now a parent is making a decision: should I send you to school or feed the family?
Mrs. Jones says the sector will now have to think outside the box, giving consideration to new and alternative approaches to keep students on track.
Some persons will have to migrate from where they were into other areas, and so the demand on some schools will be great. And so you may have schools like mine. We just don't do some subjects. So if your child would want to be a part of our program, we just don't offer some subjects at all. And so you have schools that are already overcrowded, that are going to have significant challenges. And I do think it calls for the kind of strategy to look at our schools that are underpopulated, very small numbers, look at the teachers who are available, establish a kind of shift systems where we're utilizing facilities that are up and running, to probably run a middle school and a high school in the same building.
Now, some schools are already exploring alternative measures. We hear from them in part two. Amoy Harriet for CVM News.